In this edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast, the Bucs activate Cole Beasley once again. Todd Bowles said that this team will be a lot more whole this game than it has been in the past with the return of Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, and Donovan Smith. And Todd Bowles says that it's doubtful that wide receiver Breshad Perriman will be able to play Sunday night. This is a special game day edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast, and it starts right now.
MinuteCast Media.
10,000!
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast starts right now.
Bucs on 3, 1, 2, 3, Bucs!
This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast.
Well, hello and welcome into this edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. As always, this podcast is free and available on all the major platforms. You can find this podcast on The Bucs Report. Check it out online, bucsreport.com. You can also find it on YouTube. Just search for The Bucs Report. And of course, you can always find this audio podcast wherever you find your audio podcasts. Just search for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast. My name is Dan Holme. You can find me on Twitter. It's at DanCaps218. Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free worldwide shipping with promo code MinuteCast. That's get free worldwide shipping plus 20% off when you use promo code MinuteCast at manscaped.com. So in this game day edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast, we will talk about the returns to this team as we talk about Godwin, Julio Jones, Donovan Smith returning. We will talk about Breshad Perriman, who is doubtful for tonight, and then the crazy actions of former Buccaneer Antonio Brown in this episode. But just to get it going here off the stop here is Todd Bowles says it's doubtful that wide receiver Breshad Perriman will be able to play Sunday. He will need to make a miraculous recovery over the weekend to be ready. Bucs offense will look more whole on Sunday night football for Tom Brady per multiple reports. Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, and Donovan Smith all are expected to play tonight versus the Chiefs. Mike Evans return from suspension. So this is going to be a Bucs team that is firing on all cylinders, and this is going to be a good litmus test for this team as it is playing the team that they played in the Super Bowl to see what they have. And I think that after today's game, you are going to kind of be able to judge the trajectory of this team this year, because there's not a lot of excuses for this team to make. So if the Bucs do, for some strange reason, play poorly today, we can't say it's because they didn't have this guy or they didn't have that guy. This lineup is going to be what the lineup is, ostensibly the rest of this season, minus Jensen. But it's doubtful that Jensen will return this year, or if he does, it'll be at the very tail end of the season. So like I'm talking about, tonight's game is going to be a good test to see what they have in the tank and kind of just to put all the excuses aside and say, this is who we are as the Bucs team. This is Tom Brady's Buccaneers team. Let's see what they have with all of the weapons at his disposal. And I don't want to talk about this issue too much here, but, just the really crazy actions of former Buccaneer Antonio Brown continue. As we all know, that crazy incident last season when he took his jersey off against the Jets and gave the peace out sign, was dancing in the end zone. If you thought that was any sort of temporary insanity, this will put it to rest. Antonio Brown was asked to leave a Dubai hotel shortly after a nude incident in their pool. There's also complaints he snubbed the dress code customers by flaunting his bare chest to guests inside the hotel and allegedly smoking weed, which would violate the country's law. And there are videos online. I believe I saw it from TMZ was the source, where he was acting inappropriate with a female in the pool. So just the crazy antics of Antonio Brown continue. Again, there's some people after the Antonio Brown thing last season when he had those crazy antics in the end zone, they're like, well, he was just, he was pissed off or something. this guy has a long history of being kind of an oddball. There's the story of him, breaking a security camera at a hotel and, domestic dispute allegedly happening. So, again, it is just kind of the crazy behavior of Antonio Brown continues. And at the end of the day, that is why he isn't playing in the NFL. And if you go look at his official Twitter page, he kind of joked about the whole incident in Dubai and saying, I'm paraphrasing here, I still have, I can expose a team's D, and, so kind of making light of the whole situation that happened. So just, not a real class act by Antonio Brown. No real surprise there. But the tragedy for me looking at Antonio Brown is that, he is a great football player. He can catch a football better than a lot of guys out there, but his head is just not in the right place. So we hope that Antonio Brown gets the help that he needs. Because, you think about it, Tom Brady really kind of stuck his head out for him to come to this team originally, and just for him to be just kind of, again, just an oddball, for a lack of a better term here. All right, in the next story here, the Bucs activate Cole Beasley for the second straight week. This is from Bucs.com. For the second week in a row, the Buccaneers are calling on 11th-year veteran Cole Beasley to bolster a banged-up receiving core on Saturday. The Buccaneers activated Beasley from the practice squad, making him eligible to play in their Sunday night game against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 4. Beasley was originally signed to the Bucs practice squad on September 21st, also played in the team's Week 3 loss to the Green Bay Packers 4 days later. He logged 9 snaps on offense and 3 on special teams, and was targeted on 4 passes, catching 3 of the 12. So, that's not a real great stat there. His first reception as a Buccaneer was a 90 diving grab for 4 yards on 4th and 1. So, you just take a look at them. I mean, I know that they need that added depth with Perriman out, but, I don't see Beasley fitting into the Buccaneers' long-term plans, as long as, and I'm going to give you a caveat to that, as long as Evans and Godwin and the like are in good health. I don't see Beasley having a huge role on this team this year. The Buccaneers played against the Packers without wide receivers Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Julio Jones. Evans is back for this week's game, but Godwin and Jones are both considered questionable to suit up Sunday. But there is more and more information pointing to that they will, in fact, be back. In addition, wide receiver Breshad Perriman is listed as doubtful. Like I talked about off the top there, it is most unlikely to see Perriman return in this game. The NFL introduced the elevation option in 2020, which allows teams to activate up to 2 players from their practice squad for each game. By activating Beasley for Sunday's contest, the Buccaneers have increased their game day roster to 54 players. They will be able to keep 48 of those players active for the game, naming 6 inactives prior to the kickoff. Each player on the practice squad can be elevated up to 3 times during the regular season and an unlimited amount of times in the postseason. After the game, elevated players automatically revert to the practice squad without having to pass through waivers. Beasley is coming off consecutive 82 catch seasons for the Buffalo Bills. He has also played extensively in the slot during his career and has appeared in 149 games with 50 starts, recording 550 receptions for 5,709 yards and 54 touchdowns. So, historically, he is a pretty sound player. He was a bit rusty when he first came to the team here. Let's hope he can knock some of that rust off and help contribute to this team. Hopefully, he doesn't have to get targeted a whole lot. Hopefully, it's going to be Evans and Godwin carrying a bulk of the mail for the team out there. But let's hope, if he is in fact called upon, that he is up for the task at hand. All right, so after the break here, we are going to talk about tonight's matchup of the Buccaneers versus the Chiefs. But first, a message from our sponsor. And if you're listening on the audio side, this is about a 60-second clip. So sit tight. We will be back right after this. All right, and welcome back into this edition of the Bucs Daily Minutecast. I'm so glad you decided to join me today, and thanks once again to Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free worldwide shipping with promo code MinuteCast. Hurry, this offer is only good through October 8th. So in this final segment here, we are going to talk about the big matchup tonight, one of the biggest matchups out there. Tom Brady versus Mahomes out there. I don't think you could ask for any better matchup. Two great, outstanding quarterbacks. Some would say the best quarterbacks in the league playing against each other tonight, and it is going to be most exciting. This was in the Bucs Wire. They were talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Kansas City Chiefs are set for a rematch of the Super Bowl at Raymond James Stadium on Sunday night in front of prime time audience. Here are the top matchups for Buc fans to watch for in week 4. Bucs pass rush versus Chiefs offensive line. In that Super Bowl blowout 2 years ago, the primary factor was Tampa Bay's relentless pass rush, which took advantage of a depleted makeshift offensive line. Mahomes spent most of the game running for his life, preventing him from connecting with playmakers for big gains down the field. Earlier this week, Bucs outside linebacker Shaq Barrett, who should have been the MVP of that game, told the media that he feels like his unit should dominate this matchup too, citing plenty of favorable matchups in the trenches. And we hope that, we can get that production from this team. Again, a great litmus test for this Bucs team as they take on a formidable opponent in Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. It will remain to be seen how they fare tonight. Bucs interior offensive line versus Chiefs DL Chris Jones. Quarterback hate interior pressure, and few defenders provide it more frequently than Jones, who is one of the league's most dominant inside rushers. Tampa Bay has 3 new faces protecting Tom Brady: inside rookie second-round pick Luke Gadecki, at left guard second-year center Robert Hainsey, and veteran trade acquisition Shaq Barrett at right guard. That group has done a solid job keeping Brady clean so far this year, but this will be their tallest task yet. And we hope that they are up for the task at hand. And the biggest thing, and that Brady, it's kind of young versus old here. Bucs quarterback Tom Brady versus Chiefs Patrick Mahomes. It is one for the ages. I've got to say, just like last week's matchup between Brady and Aaron Rodgers, this showdown between elite quarterbacks will be the main event, even though they won't be on the field at the same time. While Mahomes steals the headlines with his elite arm strength and playmaking ability, Brady's consistent ability to play the team's most important position at such a high level, despite being 45 years old, is something the league isn't likely to ever see again. These are the matchups you will tell your grandkids about. And that is what I've talked about on this podcast all season, is that you are witnessing history. Years from now, you are going to tell your kids and your grandkids about watching Tom Brady, winner of 7 Super Bowls, the GOAT, the great one, playing Patrick Mahomes, who will most likely go on and be revered as one of the best of all time as well. We're living it in real time right now, and it's going to be on TV tonight. So just really taking these moments. We do know that this is Tom Brady's last year in the NFL, his last year with the Buccaneers. Let's make the most of it. Let's hope that all the moves that Jason Light made in the offseason are going to gel and work together here. You got Godwin and Evans out there. You can scratch that off your list of, things that, they didn't win because. So there are no real excuses for this Bucs team but to play a great game tonight. And for all intents and purposes, I do believe that they will play well. Everything is in line. They've solidified most of the positions out there. There are not open holes out there that I think need to be addressed. The center position, I guess if I had to pick one, would be, the biggest question mark for me out there. But I think that, Hainsey is rising to the challenge out there, and he seems to be getting better over time. He is not Jensen, of course, but the Bucs are making the best of what they have out on the field. And I do think that they are poised to do great things today. Let's hope they can pick up a win like I've talked about multiple times in this episode. This is a true test of this Buccaneers team. You are going to be able to assess this team's rise and fall. You're going to be able to assess their trajectory this season and perhaps years to come based on this game tonight. Because when you're playing a big opponent and you have the best of the best, you got Brady, you got all the wide receiver options out there, save Perriman, who isn't one of the biggest receiving targets out there. So let's hope the Bucs can do it. They can pick up a big win tonight. Because there is a lot on the line. And, Brady came back for this. He came back to win another Super Bowl, and he's going to have to do it by going through the likes of a Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and these big names out there. So let's hope they can pick up a big win tonight. And let's go Bucs. I'll talk to you again next time.